Hey, this is Jacob with Bluhm Gardens again. This is our second video of the season, so I'll give you a little tour and show you what I've done. Let me turn around here. As you can see, we've got all of the rows cut in. We've got 10 rows in total. Let's walk out here real quick. This will have forget-me-nots in it, which I have not planted yet, but that will be a floral thing. These are my strawberries, which they've come on really well. I did have to dig some out of the garden that had grown past the fence, but I gave them to a buddy of mine, a farming buddy of mine, so we can put them in rows. After these stop fruiting this year, I will probably be digging them up as well and moving them, but they've taken over pretty good. It started with a small patch about right there, and then has grown all the way over here, and then had gone into where that second row is. So let's go back in the garden.
Hey, we gotta put chemical stuff out.
Okay, let's go back over here. So this is the last row that just got finished. I did amend all of the rows with garden lime. This is compost, basically soil I've created over the past few years from the Bale Garden. See one of my older videos. All of this has just been tilled in and dug up. Underneath is a sandy clay that they filled in the basement of that house that burnt down. So I've just been building on top of it until I can eventually have enough to build raised beds, probably next year. These are about 24-foot rows. Like I said, I have 10 of them. They have all been amended with just the lime. The rest all amended in fertilizer this year. I will be going in between each row in the paths. This year I will be using chopped straw as a bedding or weed control. Here are my cayennes. I have 4 rows. And as you can see, instead of using stakes, I tied strings and let's see if I can get a good look here. One of them. Kind of bonsai'd them out a bit to stretch them out along the string and get them to turn up and grow out. I did leave enough room for a second line just in case they get tall enough, or to put some pie pans, bird deterrents on them. The peppers I'm growing this year are cayennes. I have a purple cayenne and an orange cayenne. I've planted them alternatingly because I do want them to cross-pollinate. I have a total of 64 in these 4 rows. And you move down here. My last video you saw I built the arbor, and I also got them planted that night. On this side, this row is my black cherry tomatoes, and this row is the Mr. Stripies. At the base of each one of these posts, I also planted a yellow squash that I will train up and then over across the wooden framing. Also in between all of the peppers, I planted onions, sweet onion, and then I'm going to go show you what I did here for fertilizing each one of these. I'll do another video in the future about my opinions of chemical versus organic fertilizer. Right now I'm using these fertilizer spikes. They are a 13-4-5 on your NPK rating. The peppers are all about 9 inches down is where I buried the bottom of the root ball. So I'm taking my post here, again about 9 inches, and then just drop it right down in there. I use a stick to prop them, to push them down in if they don't go all the way, and then make sure you water it in real good. I will only use chemical fertilizer during the vegetative state. Once I switch them to flowering and producing peppers, I will be using strictly organic. So that's about it. Let me give you a little bit more of a tour. This is my, excuse the mess, this is my water reserve tank I made. This is just one gutter going into it, and it fills on a good rain. There's not much pressure going through the hose, especially when I have 100 feet, but it's definitely enough to water everything well if you take your time. One good thing about it too is that you can, since it's low pressure, I can kind of dig a trough through an irrigation trough through all of the rows, which controls the water from just shedding off of the side. I also have my red potatoes going. I got to find a place to plant, and then some walking onions. I planted a few years ago, and they just kind of kept going. I've got this bunch over here. This is the only one that's really left. I dug up a couple of them. These are pretty cool. If you haven't seen them, they'll grow a seed head at the top, and then they fall over and replant themselves. You'll see them later on this year. Other than that, I guess that's about it. So I enjoyed videoing this for you, and hope you stay tuned.